I'd like to talk with you about something that's very near and dear to my heart, which is training with power. I got my first power meter in 1994, began to play with it, and realized when I got it that the world was not the same anymore. The world had actually changed. It kind of reminded me of when I was in high school. I didn't have glasses when I was in high school, and the world was a little bit fuzzy for me. And I figured that's the way it was for everybody. Everybody just saw the world the same way I did. Things weren't really all that clear. And then, lo and behold, my senior year in high school, I was outfitted with a pair of glasses. I couldn't believe when I walked outside with glasses on that things were actually clear and crisp. The world was different. And until you have a power meter, you don't really fully appreciate what I'm trying to say right now, quite honestly, because it does change your perspective. Ever since that day, I've been using power, and I've been talking about power with athletes. What I want to do today is show you just a few basic things about that, how you can get started using a power meter, and how you can look at your data to begin to make some sense of what all this is trying to show you. Let's start off with why train with a power meter. What's in it for you in using a power meter? First thing I might point out is that you really have two things that are going on when you're riding a bicycle. You've got input, your effort. We can measure that with heart rate, and it's a pretty good measure of input. So we can know basically what your effort is like by watching what your heart is doing. But the other thing is the piece that's often has been missing for most athletes, which is why we're a little bit kind of fuzzy on seeing the world of training, and that's output. With a heart rate monitor, you're not measuring output, you're measuring strictly input. With a power meter, you're measuring output, but you're not measuring input. So the beauty of this is when you put the two together, a heart rate monitor and a power meter together, you actually have a complete package. You begin to understand what training is all about. So it's really value added. Heart rate monitor and a power meter means your training is much more effective. There have always been some troubles, some problems associated with using a heart rate monitor strictly as a way of gauging what the workout is like or how you're doing in the race. And that challenge has been heart rate response time. Everybody knows that when you're doing intervals, for example, the first few seconds or perhaps even the first few minutes of an interval, your heart rate doesn't go immediately to your target heart rate, it rises slowly. Power meters don't work that way. Power meters, within a matter of 3 or 4 strokes, you know if you're there or not. Another issue we've always had with heart rate, which we don't have with power, is something called drift. If you've ever done a very long bike ride with your heart rate monitor on, you realize that sometime late in the workout that your heart rate begins to rise, even though your power output or your pace, if you're running, remains the same. That cardiac drift is fairly common. Training with power is easy. That's the simple part. All you do is you watch the numbers on your handlebars. You see all the numbers you normally associate with your bike: speed, distance, time, pedal cadence. You also, with this device, will see grade, what the grade of the hill is that you're on. But the thing that will stand out for you immediately is this number here, this power number.